the session in a nutshell for this one, which is all about documenting a hospital initial assessment. Basically, we're going to start with the goals and the audience. So the goals basically for if you're documenting an initial assessment in hospital, and this is for inpatient adults, generally it's looking at what are the barriers to discharge. So what's stopping them from going home? And then we'll translate that to what are the goals for discharge. So what's the minimum level of function that they need, or what are the extra supports or equipment that they need to be able to go home? Because basically as soon as somebody comes to hospital, even though some people we may be looking at, do they need inpatient rehab and things like that? Ultimately, it's when can they go home? So a lot of our documentation needs to always circle back to where are we up to with that barrier or that goal that we're working towards. We also need to keep in mind the audience. So unlike other sectors like the NDIS, where we're writing for non-medical professionals, hospital notes are intended for health professionals. So we can use abbreviations, we can use jargon, but the health professionals reading our notes are going to be short on time as well. So they want to also be able to quickly find a take-home message in terms of where is this person up to? And again, circling back to that, when can they go home, that ultimate goal. Some features that we're going to talk about. So we're going to revisit the CARE acronym, which is all about how documentation needs to have clarity, accuracy, relevance, and exceptions. So I'll take you through that in the session. And then we're going to talk about what format that you might use for writing up an initial hospital assessment. The warning is that it's not actually going to be SOAP note format. So while we may use SOAP notes in some situations in a hospital setting, it really doesn't work very well for hospital initial assessments. So what I'll do is I'll show you some different templates or formats that you might come across when you're working as an OT in a hospital setting. Then I'm going to share what I call my winning template. Doesn't mean it's the only template or the only format that you can use, and you'll definitely see different ones if you work in different hospitals, but I'll just give you a starting point. If you have no idea how you should be writing it up, then my template might be helpful. I'm going to show you a longer version for an older person where we need to put a little bit more detail, and a short version for a younger person just with a broken leg that's going to be in and out of hospital pretty quickly and hopefully not need too much OT. Then to finish off, I'll give you some ideas for practice. So if you're struggling with your documentation, if you just think, yeah, if I do more practice, it will get better. No, it doesn't necessarily mean that's the case. What you actually need to do is targeted practice and think about why is this difficult? What part of the documentation is tricky for me? And then you work on strategies that are specific to those. So I'll run you through some examples there. And then finally, there'll be a wrap-up section where you're thinking about, okay, what's your one take-home message? What's the one thing that you can start doing differently or that's going to make you feel more confident when it comes to doing your initial assessments? And if you're a keen bean that would like to do a little bit of extra practice, then there'll be a few case studies that you can use for homework as well. So if that sounds good, let's get into it.